leave their homes when they play games.
Why is that? Why can't you do these online?
I think it's a bit about like the way fighting games work, which is a very kind of technical thing, is like if you go into the nitty gritty, like we talk about frames a lot.
Yeah.
And the moment there's like any kind of like internet involved, like you're gonna be like maybe 10 ping away, 100 ping away. That's added frames.
So this is a ping thing.
Yeah. So like with fighting games, like a lot of things are frame perfect per se, and also Super Smash Bros. Ultimate does not have the best netcode. So the online versus offline game is quite different.
Really?
Yeah. Yeah, it just feels laggier. Like it becomes more of like a less of a reactive base, like kind of like how you would normally play, and just more of like, oh, I'm just going to do my thing and just see if it works kind of thing.
Right.
Yeah.
Is that the same thing for Dota? Is that why Dota is also live?
No, Dota. So I think you noticed, because I know you're an avid Dota player.
X.
Same here. I was an avid Dota player.
Oh, she called my name. But,
So the thing with Dota is with first of all, it has a fantastic netcode. And you probably notice but you start noticing like maybe once you hit like 100 ping or above, the game kind of feels quote unquote laggy to you.
Okay. Which happens quite often.
Not in China.
No,
China, it's always like sub 100.
Okay.
But I mean, this is back in the States,
It's like
especially
in the
when you're
40s,
in
I think,
Hawaii, when your nearest server is always US West. Which
must be fun.
Yeah, you don't really see that many esports stars coming out of Hawaii.
No,
Yeah.
You're the first one.
Nope.
Dude, of course you are. Going back to the Super Smash thing. Mm-hmm. So in China, these tournaments, they range in size. What is the audience size that comes out for these?
It's because it's a very grassroots thing. I would say it's not that much extra compared to the amount of competitors.
Okay.
So I'll say like the biggest tournaments we have are about like 100.
That's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But
it's more people that listen to this podcast.
Not yet. Not yet.
You'll grow with us. Yeah.
But yeah, no, it's been a journey. Like the thing with especially the games like Smash in China, which is the culture here revolves around like PC and mobile gaming.
Yes. Yeah.
So console gaming and like also via what's the English word I'm looking for, or just like attached to that like console esports, it doesn't have that much of a mainstream appeal because it's more harder to get to.
It's more hardware. It's more expensive.
Yeah, it's more hardware.
Yeah.
Like you can everyone owns a phone.
Right.
Everyone can go to Wamba.
Yeah. Of course. Yeah. The average Chinese person does not. I mean, they just need their phone, right? Like when I grew up, I had multiple electronic devices. Even now that I rely on like my laptop, my phone, sometimes my iPad. But like for the average Chinese person, it's just their phone, I think, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
And then a computer.
Yeah.
I guess computer can go Wamba.
Yeah.
How big is China in respect to the greater Super Smash scene? Like, is it like Dota or is it FIFA?
I probably would say FIFA.
Because FIFA, China's not very big at all.
I would say that
good
too.
E-players.
Because like the thing with like Smash is like why like a lot of these top players or actually within our scene, most if not all top players are like not originally from China.
Yeah,
is because we all kind of grew up like. At least in the States, like everyone played Super Smash Brothers.
Right.
Like in college, college, that's a staple. You talk to older people, it's like 64, like, and then there's like the Melee crowd. For me, when I was in college, it was a mix between Melee and Brawl.
Yeah.
But so like everyone had like early exposure towards it. But here in China, like. Especially when I first started playing here, like there was no locals who played because when I started playing competitively here, it was during the Wii U days. How many people you do know that
nobody.
owns a Wii? Yeah, exactly.
What's a Wii U? No, I'm serious. A lot of our millennials, like they probably don't know.
It's a console that spectacularly failed.
So
That's
bad.
about it.
Yeah.
But I mean,
the sad thing is, I bought one.
Hey, mine's just collecting dust too. Congratulations.
I thought it would be like a nice thing for my mom and I to do. It did not happen. Although she still uses it.
I mean, it was cool on paper, but
dude, I got the Wii Sports thing. Remember that?
Oh yeah,
it was so bad, so bad.
No, it was so fun. Like
the tennis.
Yeah. You just wave your arms violently and it worked. Like it's a sport.
Yeah, it just went
wherever. like whoever wins loses in the carpal tunnel game.
Dude, the first tennis on Wii was not very good.
Oh, yeah. But I mean, it had its charms.
It did. All of it did back then. Yeah.
But I would say, so going back to that topic, now, like, with the Switch, like, a lot of people have the Nintendo Switch.
In China.
Right. Because it hits, like, kind of that sweet spot. Because, you know,
Right.
not everyone has the space.
Yeah.
It's mobile, so you can take it with you everywhere. So, most of our local players started off with the Switch and with this game.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Interesting.
And it's actually interesting. Like, I would say last year, like, I wouldn't say the skill level was that great, but this year in particular, like, I've noticed there's a lot of up and coming locals who are getting really good, and that's really making me happy.
Yeah.
Because
It should make
even
you
going
happy.
deeper into this random sub game culture, which was Australia went through like a similar thing 4 years ago.
Okay.
So no one knew about any Aussie players, but then all of a sudden, like,
This is for Smash, right?
yeah, this is for Smash.
Okay.
So then all of a sudden, like, they came out during the Wii U days because they decided to, like, for some reason, people down under like to have Wii U's, and then they started playing well competitively, and then you know they're doing great, and they're like on the global map in terms of, like, you know, players that people recognize.
How big is the global scene for this? Like, what is the cap off? You know, like, so for example, for Dota, right, because it's a mutual language that you and I speak, I would say the cap off is maybe like what, 10 to 15 teams. Like, the average person who follows Dota knows 10 to 15 teams, right? And then everybody else in TI or whatever else, they're just like, who the fuck is this? Yeah. Where's the cap cut off with you?
It depends. Okay. Like, there's a couple household names in the Smash scene that even if you kind of don't follow, you know.
Okay.
But it's also, what's different about Smash is you still have pro melee players and pro ultimate players, which is the game I play now. So it's like it's like if people
generational.
It's like if people still decide I effing hate Valve.
Yeah.
I'm just gonna play Dota 1 because I'm cool like that.
Losers.
I wouldn't say losers.
I call them losers.
Yeah.
They should just play League of Legends.
Yeah.
It's the same thing. Yeah. Sorry, you were saying.
No, so I would say, like, everyone knows kind of like the backstory, or not everyone, sorry. People who follow the game kind of know a few players, like 5 to 10 from Melee, and then like probably 10 to 5 to 20 in Ultimate.
Yeah.
Because the other thing,
and that's the one now, right? Ultimate.
Yeah. Because the cool thing about this game is it's not like, you know, it's not like Dota where it's like, oh, I know Team Secret, oh, I know OG.
Right, yeah.
But, or like, you know, Vici Gaming or Newbie.
Right.
The thing with fighting games in particular, it's just 1v1. So you know the players' names because that's pretty much it.
Yeah. That's pretty much it. It's kind of like tennis that way, isn't it?
Exactly. Yeah. Or tennis,
golf,
Formula One. Yeah.
It's very fascinating now you mentioned that, because for me, I mostly watch team sports, right? Like soccer, basketball, football, stuff like that. But I almost feel like the people who love tennis, Formula One, golf are almost a little different than ones like team sports, because in many ways they're a little different. I mean, they're both great, but a little different, I think. Yeah.
I think, especially from a player's perspective,
right?
You and me both know with Dota 2, there's a lot of anger, a lot of rage.
What?
But
anger? Never.
But because it's a 5v5 game, it's very easy to blame someone else when, you know, it's kind of a team thing where, like, everyone's probably partially responsible for that devastating loss.
Especially in Perfect World.
Yes. But with a game like, you know, like fighting games or just any 1v1 sport in particular, like, if you lose, like, you know, it's on you.
Yeah. Right,
like,
exactly, yeah.
Like, you know, you can blame
you
can blame it on, like, a loss, or you could blame it, like, you know, your palms are sweaty, knees weak. No, I'm just
arms are heavy.
Yeah. Like, there's that. I didn't expect us to go so deep into this kind of like subculture.
Why?
But
that's the whole point of this.
Okay, fair. But so fun fact, so we have like a lot of like nerdy lingo. So like if someone were to lose and they just start spewing random excuses like, oh, like I wasn't feeling well today, or like this person sucks,
What do you call
like
these
he's
fuckers?
trash. So it's not even what do you call them?
Yeah.
That term is literally Johning. So that person's Johning.
How do you spell that?
Like literally like John Smith, John.
Oh, okay.
And like the urban legend for why this became the case is because like probably from like an early Smash scene, like somewhere there's probably a John who kept doing that, and then someone was like, "Hey, don't be like John. Stop Johning over there.
Stop Johning this shit." Yeah,
but
that's
hey,
interesting.
like that's the term.
And this is just in Smash.
Yeah, it's just in Smash.
Because I've never heard that elsewhere.
Hey, I mean, if people start taking, if you hear it outside, like, that's pretty much Smash. Yeah,
that's how you know you like somebody you met at the bar if he drops that term, right? Like okay, immediately we're gonna be buddies after, and we're gonna play Smash
pretty
probably.
much.
Yeah.
Like if his excuse for getting trashed that day, it was it, or what if he was just jotting about how his hangover is bad? It's
now you know. One of the things I wanted to ask earlier when we were talking about Smash, if I understand this correctly, you can correct me if I'm wrong, is there are like different time stamps of Smash rankings, right? Like there's the Melee, the Brawl, and then now the Ultimate, right? And I'm assuming you play the Melee on what, a GameCube?
Yes.
Right. Yeah. So you keep it in their mint state or like whatever like timestamp was. So for example, this would be like us playing current Dota, but also Dota on patch 4.5 and also Dota on patch 2.1. Kind of. Obviously not the same because Dota has much more updates and patches, etc. Whereas this is maybe only like 3 versions, right? But it's kind of like that, right?
It's hard to say because the thing. So like I would almost say like it's a little more drastic because at least with Dota patches, even between like version 5.0 to 6.0, like the game still fundamentally follows the same formula, same kind of rules. Like you still have a turn rate, you still have to right click to like move your hero.
What is in a Smash?
With like Smash, like basically the physics engine changes.
Oh, really?
On top of many other things. So
I didn't know that. Okay.
Like on a very simplistic level, like from people who don't play the game, it's just you just knock the person off the stage and you do cool stuff.
Sure.
But like there's actually like very very specific things about like how people move and like just the physics engine and different things you could take advantage of or not take advantage of. So why Melee, that old 2001 game that people still play, is still prevalent?
I think that's my fave. Yeah,
like you like it because it felt kind of fast, right?
Yeah, I mean, like that's just it's a period of my life, right? That's like how I identify with Pokemon cards.
Yeah, no,
right? Like
okay,
specifically
I give you that.
the cards, right? Like it's a specific time in my life. Yeah.
So with Melee, why people still play it is because it's expressive. Because of the way you can move in that game.
It's not like that anymore?
No, so there's a weird... Okay, so like the game... the game came out in 2001. It did not have a single patch. So because it didn't have a single patch, there was some...
Patch it back
exactly. There's no way to patch it. So how the game works is whatever is given.
Right.
And because of that, like... There's so many nerves. Like not even nerves, just like the game broke in the best way possible because the developer did not intend for you to move in a certain way.
Right.
Like there's all these like random game lingo stuff. Like you can look this up later because if I explain it, I'm sure like half your audience are gonna leave or. 5 of the 10 were gonna leave. Yeah. But it's just like,
that's
like
so kind
wave
of
dash, wave land.
There's 10
like,
of these. Yeah. I've heard some of this. I've heard wave dash.
Yeah,
before.
like L canceling. It's just all that stuff.
Yeah. So these like little hacks, I guess that.
Like little. I wouldn't say hacks, just like
quirks.
Right. Yeah.
Right. It's interesting. Would you say that this is like Smash is the game that you commit the most time to these days?
Yeah. I think it's just like anyone who plays like any kind of sport for fun. Where it's just like once you get it, or I guess if you have that competitive spirit,
right?
Just like Dota.
Bro, man, listen, I've played Catan with you.
Yeah.
I know you're
like, there's a difference between just chilling out on the couch, like playing that like nice story game versus like. Like playing a game where you are literally going to be better than someone, or they're going to make you really hate your life for the next few hours.
Yeah, bro, I really appreciate that about you though, about our board games nights, because that means that I don't have to be that person. Then I can just be the asshole.
Yeah.
It's a perfect because usually I have to be that role.
Yeah. No, I think it's just the nature of competitive things is for something to be competitive, someone has to win, someone has to lose.
Right.
And learning that spirit of like
That's good.
winning humble, or not humbly, but like also losing humbly.
Sure. Sure. Yeah.
Like you have to equally be okay with losing as you're okay with winning.
Right.
Because if you're not okay with losing, it's not fun.
Yeah. What is it with the sudden uptick in board games recently? Have you noticed that?
Yeah,
Just talking to you about this and like reflecting back on how long I've known you, I'm like, I don't know if it's because like my age thing, or have board games just been around forever and we're just discovering that, or how's that working?
I would say it's not. It's something you definitely noticed, and it's for the right reasons.
Yeah.
Board games.
Like,
okay, this is probably just me observing. Like, don't quote me on this, but I would say,
who the fuck else would we quote?
No, I would just say, like, at least within this decade, nerd culture all of a sudden became, acceptable. So, like, a lot of things, like, just like nerdy board, like even Catan, like that's a very. Like, I guess, like, like if you're like in the 90s and some high school jock walked was like, hey, bro, you want to play some Catan? It's like, get this nerd out of here. F you.
You think so?
Yeah, like, no, it's just like how, like, D&D is just, like culturally acceptable now.
Yeah.
Like, everyone's like, oh, you play D&D, that's cool.
I have friends who have just learned D&D
last
year.
Just think about you in high school. If you just walked up to, like, this girl you like, or like, hey, you want to play some... You want to play some D&D together?
Yeah, she would have been like, "Fuck yes!"
Yeah.
No, I'm kidding. She probably wouldn't have said that.
No.
High school was very different back then.
Yeah, but I mean, again, the times were also different back then.
So you think it's more through things like that? I guess a big factor that also helped was probably The Big Bang Theory.
Yeah.
Right? Like, I think...
As much as I hate that show, but yes.
Dude, I think The Big Bang Theory culturally has had a huge impact.
I do think so.
Yeah.
I do agree with you on that, because as much as I dislike that show for...
Why?
Because, well, it's appropriating culture into... I won't go into it, but let's just say, like, at least from, like, it did its job where it kind of, like, normalized a lot of nerd things into being socially acceptable, so I'll take it.
Do you not think all sitcoms do that?
I mean,
right?
Some sitcoms are great even without the laugh track. For any viewers here, highly recommend you watch The Big Bang Theory without the laugh track. Just search for it on YouTube.
That's available?
Yeah.
I mean, I grew up with the laugh track. Like, for me...
I think the laugh track is perfectly fine.
Yeah.
But there's a difference between a laugh track and just not being well written.
That's fair.
You can definitely witness it if you search for it on YouTube.
Look, Big Bang Theory is one. I grew up with that entire age of sitcom, right? Like the tail end of sitcom, like How I Met Your Mother, Big Bang Theory, 2.5 Men towards the end of his years, and all that stuff. Going back to the whole nerd culture thing, I don't know if it's because nerd culture is more acceptable these days or what, but I don't see it as that. Like, I feel like board games is something that is very non-nerdy. Like, a lot of the board games that we play I would not classify as nerdy at all, right?
Yeah.
I mean, D&D maybe a little.
I mean, that's not a board game. I was just kind of throwing something into the mix.
D&D is an experience. Like, let's be real. Yeah. And a lot of prep work.
Yeah.
So I feel like board games for people our age these days is just, it's a weird in-between between socializing and not socializing, right? Because like we're there to do something, and it's fun because we have a lot of laughter, at least because we play fun board games and stuff. But it's only something I've seen the last like maybe 3 or 4 years.
I guess it's also because we've aged. Like,
we
granted,
have,
like, I mean, if you want to, cheers. Like, if you want to go find your 22-year-old self and be like, on a Saturday night, it's like, hey, you want to play some board games?
Yeah. At 6, or like,
no. I mean, I think it just comes with age. But I guess this isn't a podcast about aging men, isn't it?
This is exactly a podcast about aging men. That is
wonderful.
literally what this is about.
Oh, no, sorry, not Asian men.
Aging. Yeah, I know. Yeah. I said aging men. Okay. Yeah, correctly. I mean, that's what I'm going through at this point, right? So I've said this multiple times on this podcast. I feel like there are 3 levels to this podcast.
Yeah.
So the very top level is, what is this podcast trying to achieve from like a media company standpoint? It's part of the noodle shop, and all that shit, blah, 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 blah. And then on a podcast level is, what do we want this podcast to be about?
Okay.
I think that is probably what you said with the Asian man thing. It's like, look, our goal is to show all the shades of yellow within Asian people. So not all types of all types of Asian people as well, but like just here is an Asian person from Hawaii who worked in film and is the best Super Smash player in the world. Sorry, not the world, China.
Yes.
Yeah, humbly.
Definitely not in the world.
Yeah.
Please don't take that.
Yet.
It's also I'm too old for that.
No, you'll get there. Bro.
I mean,
you'll get there.
just the average esports player is like what, like 18? I'm like what, double that? No, I'm not double.
You need those like steroid and human growth hormones.
Hey,
Yeah,
man, like you know what? Like what's like the common trope that I've just been saying with like my friends is like retirement homes are gonna be lit.
Dude, they're gonna be so much fun.
So much
especially
fun.
with all the drugs. Yeah, it's like they're gonna be a blast.
It's not only the drugs; it's just video games.
Yeah.
Like we don't need bingo anymore.
But your hands ain't gonna be that fast when you're fucking.
Hey, by that time, just put me into like the Oasis, like just VR that.
Hopefully
I can do
get
it.
there. Hopefully, yeah, that'll be fun. No, that'll be really fun. Fuck, what were we talking about?
What were we talking about?
Yeah, dude, I completely forgot. Aging men.
Yes.
Okay, podcast, 3 levels. Yeah, we're going in real time here. Noodle shop level, podcast level. Podcast I think is about like Asian diaspora and everyday Asian people, all that shit. And then there's the personal level, right?
Okay.
So for me, the personal level really is about what you said. It's about aging men. It's like I'm fucking aging.
Yeah.
And I enjoy having men on here because it's really cool to learn about your life and what you do and reflect back on mine.
Yeah. We could mansplain our ideals to everyone.
To all of our 10 listeners.
Yes.
Well, 5 now. You scared away 5.
Oh, yeah. Well, maybe 2.5 now.
2.5. I don't know where the fucking half. Maybe a child, right?
Yeah.
So essentially a family is listening to this.
Well, no,
right now.
the F-bomb you just dropped definitely disqualified you.
Great. So now I can really talk about whatever we want.
Yeah.
Cheers, Daniel.
Cheers.
You want another beer? You good?
In a bit.
All right. So let's do one of the things I really love about doing on this podcast. It's like make a hard left.
Okay.
I was talking to V today. Our mutual friend Veronica, who's also been on this podcast. Shout out to Veronica. And she was telling me you're telling her about this book. Right? And I to be clear, I have not read it. I just saw the title. And it was something to do with Chinese history.
Yes.
We don't have to get into the book if you don't want to.
Oh, it's a great book.
Yeah, I'm sure it is. Yeah. But I think from my end, what I was really curious about was you behind it. Because, like, I know you. Like, you're not a stranger. Like, I know the things you're really interested in, the things you spend time doing, your work, all that stuff, your relationships. This is not one thing I would have guessed.
Yeah. I mean, I guess, okay, so for whoever's listening.
Yeah, plug it.
For reference, because I think this book is very good for anyone living in China.
Okay.
Especially with a Western education, because I have no idea about anything about Chinese history.
Such as you and I.
Yeah. So the book is called Superpower Interrupted by, I feel awful for not knowing the author's name.
That's okay.
But look it up.
Yeah. Chinese author? Asian author?
No. White author. Like, really well researched. Apart from, like, maybe, like, chapter 1 or 2 where, it's, like, kind of more of his own personal opinions. Like, I thought it was really well done. In framing like Chinese history for like Western educated human being and like why people think and behave the way they do now. Because like you and I are very different from the average person you're going to meet on the street here.
Right. That's fair.
Yeah.
By the numbers,
By the numbers.
Not exactly where I live, because where I live.
Yeah. I mean,
every third person's like us. Yeah. What was it about this book that made you pick it up in the first place?
I mean, I've been on a very big nonfiction binge.
Oh.
I think it's also because I work in purely the fiction side of the industry, so I like kind of being more well learned, I guess. No, just like, just keeping the brain entertained. Fun fact, I'm a film major.
Right.
From college.
Yeah.
I am also an astronomy minor. Originally, I was actually going to I was really close to getting a physics minor. But because I had to take a film class to graduate, I couldn't take that last physics class, so I just took a astronomy class instead, and it became an astronomy minor. But I did take a lot of physics classes, so I think like to be a human, or at least for me, I like being well-rounded.
Right.
And honestly, if you ever get a BFA, which I don't think anyone will at this point, but while getting my BFA, like I felt kind of stupid after like year 3. I'm like, I need to like
be more intellectual.
I need to
I
learn
can see
something
that.
on the left side of the brain.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
I can imagine.
But no, it's also like, you know, if you live, that's the other thing with like living in China. It's also, you know, like, you know, we've been here for a while now.
Sure.
It's good to like know about your surroundings. Not even just from a physical or like an environmental point of view, but even from like a sociological, am I using the right word? Point
Sociological.
of view?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
You know, I think a sociological point of view is incredibly important, as is a psychological, you know, psychologically evolutionary, anthropological. Those are all very important. I was really interested in hearing you talk about this, you know, because one of the things that I personally am the most interested in is, you know, the Opium War. Because I think people do not understand how big of a pivot point that was in modern history, not just China history, modern history.
Yes.
You know, and you know, we don't have to get that much into it at this point. But whenever people talk to me about it, I'm like, okay, imagine this. And, you know, correct me once again if I'm wrong, if you hear something else, but imagine this. Imagine somebody took Hawaii from the U.S. 200 years ago by force. You know, half of the West Coast was enslaved by drugs. And, you know, when you try to do something about it, you lost the Sea War and they claimed it for 200 years.
Yeah.
Right. The U.S., as they are constructed now, you are American, probably would not be very happy about that.
No. And also, just like, that's not even half the story.
Sure.
Like, as a U.S. citizen, I spent most of my history electives or like my time learning about 300 years of history.
Right.
And I just like imagine if like the U.S. as a superpower existed for like 3,000 to 4,000 years, and then like as a superpower, as like the center of the world, and then